Hey guys, so I've done it again. I've bought more junk that is junk. um, what I've done is I bought a 1997 S10 Blazer V6 4x4 automatic from a guy at work, and in his honor, I've named this Blazer Johanson. He's a Swedish gentleman. Is about the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet, and I've been eyeballing his Blazer for a few months because the thing just had miserable tires on it. They were constantly low, they were constantly flat, but the thing runs awesome. I mean, I see it every day at work and starts up, runs good, exhaust is quiet, all that good stuff. And had been sniffing around it for a little bit, and shortly before Christmas, I went and talked to the guy and I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to sell that thing? So I guess you guys don't know this either, and he didn't at the time either. I've owned three other S10s. I currently have a S10 pickup. It's an '01, and I've had 98 S10 pickup and also an '89 S10 pickup. So I've been around S10s a fair bit, and as a consequence of that, one of the things I have are four studded snow tires on S10 wheels ready to go. So I've been looking for a winter beater for quite some time. I've lived in the Rust Belt all my life, but where I moved, we get lake effect snow now, and it's not so much the snow as it is we get just tons and tons of ice. So we get tons and tons of road salt, and just the I don't know combined probably like 4 or 5 months I've driven Sippy Cup in the winter up here. That thing is just turning to rust as I watch it. I mean, it's going nuts. My Jeep has gotten a lot rustier since I've been up here too. So getting one that is already a rot box that I completely don't care about was a high priority for me. Uh, so anyway, shortly before Christmas, I approached him and said, "Hey, do you want to sell this?" And he said, "Yeah, I think I do. Or, I'll sell it to you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And didn't bother the guy. A couple weeks passed. Christmas came and went. Certainly don't want to hound after a coworker, especially not at Christmas time when everybody's busy. And came into work one day and saw the thing sitting with a completely collapsed to the point of being dismounted left rear tire. And I approached him at that point, and he's like, "Yep, ready to sell it." So, all right, my snow tires for it happen to be at my dad's shop, which is, I've said in other videos, about an hour and a half from me. So the following weekend, I ran back there, picked up my snow tires, went back to work, organized it with him to swap the tires out, and he drove it here to my house, and that's kind of where it's been sitting for now. Some other things about the truck is he has been driving it for like a year and a half or 2 years with an exploded rear brake line. So the thing has not had rear brakes in 2 years. Um, the rear tires, when I took them off, I pulled the date code back to 2006. It's 2019 now, so those are 13-year-old tires that he had on the back of it. I haven't date coded the fronts yet, but I'm sure they're just as bad. So he's been rolling around with just like death sentence quality tires and no rear brakes for at least 2 years. Again, he's the nicest dude in the world, but he's a notoriously frugal man, and I've known some other people from Sweden. That seems to be somewhat of a national trait, I think. So so anyway, I had him drive it to my house since I'm not going to drive it in that condition, and I let him know that too. So he drove it here, no problems. I gave him a lift back to his house. And by the time I got back here, there's about a 10 or 12-inch circle of gas on the ground under it. So one of the fuel lines has also ruptured. He didn't know that. I didn't know that. But that's the way it goes. With the rear brake lines being bad, you pretty much bet the fuel lines will be bad too because they both run right next to each other. So that was sort of an unpleasant surprise with it, but not the end of the world. Um, the next thing I noticed with it is pull the engine oil dipstick and wipe it and put it back in, and there's no oil in the dipstick whatsoever. And talked to him a little bit about that at work later. and he got an oil change in it like 3 years ago when he bought it, and that's it. He's never checked the oil since then. And you'll be able to see in the video there's some spots of oil under the drain pan, and to me I think it's just leaking out of the drain plug. But I've not driven that truck, I've not run that truck, and it has just sat in my driveway for I think 3 or 4 weeks at this point. I've been having a hard time getting in the shop lately, and it's leaked I don't know, tablespoon or two of oil. So that's not great. It does make awesome oil pressure. I mean, cold oil pressure makes like 65, 70 pounds, which for a 4.3, which is basically just a small block Chevy, basically, that's pretty much an insane amount of oil pressure. So no real problem there. But I'm not going to run anymore until I get some more oil in it. Transmission's full, so that's good. Fluid in it looks okay. Looks like the water pump's leaking a little bit. Looks like he poured a ton of stop leak in it, and talked to him about that, and yes, he did. So I am likely not going to worry about that unless it gets worse. Pardon me. But anyway, the whole goal here with Johanson is I paid $400 for the truck. So keep in mind, this is a running 4x4 truck that brought itself to my house for $400. The snow tires and stuff I already had, and they're just sitting around getting older anyway, so that's fine with me to get some use on them. So the goal here is that I want it to be, daily driver quality, at least locally. I'm not going to risk my life on driving it coast to coast or anything like that. But daily driver quality to my satisfaction of safety, which is greater than no rear brakes and things like that. So I'm sure it needs some steering work and things of that nature. But anyway, want to get it all dialed in for under $1,000. There are probably people that have gotten way better deals than that on other 4x4s. There are probably people, I know there are people who've done a lot worse. But that's my particular goal with this thing. And since it is a completely gross rot box rustmobile, who cares? This one I'm kind of willing to cut some corners on, kind of patch some things up. The goal is, $1,000, and I hope to get 3 winters out of it. After 3 winters, I would be fine moving on to something else. But I think it'll do it. It's got 174,000 miles now. My typical driving is really about, I don't know, 100 miles a week, if that. So especially in the wintertime, I try not to go anywhere. So I drive 400 or 500 miles a month. So if that thing has 10,000 miles left in it, I'm good to go. But anyway, that's the project introduction to Johanson. You'll be seeing, I suspect, quite a lot more of it in the near future, and I will talk with you guys later. Oh, I also forgot to mention that this is the only vehicle I've ever owned, and I've owned some rusty, real pieces of crap, that has spontaneously ejected its body parts onto the ground with no provocation from me. So all those little chunks of rust you see on the ground, and you actually can see all the little rust striping under it on the concrete, that has all happened without me laying a finger on that thing. I just walk past the mailbox and see another piece of S10 rocker laying on the driveway. I've never had one that's just spontaneously rejected life and casting off the shroud of mortality as I watch it happen. So anyway, every time I look at that truck, it makes me laugh, and it's for reasons like that, and because it's silly, and I know it's going to be a nightmare, and it's going to make me cry, so I may as well laugh when I can. So anyway, now I'm actually done. See you later, guys.